In a sentencing released by his attorneys, former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn asking for no prison time, citing his extensive cooperation with the Mueller investigation. We have a lot to discuss. Michael D'Antonio is here, the author of the book, The Truth About Trump. Seth Hatena joins us as well. He is the author of Trump and Russia, A Definitive History. Gents, good evening. Seth, I'm going to start with you because I want to get your reaction to this sentencing memo released by Michael Flynn's attorneys tonight. He says he spent 62 hours with Mueller's team. That seems pretty substantial, doesn't it?
Very substantial. And, you know, I caught a little bit of the sentencing memo coverage, and it seems now he's saying that he was entrapped by the FBI, which is kind of interesting. He seems to be playing to the Trump base, I guess, looking for sympathy. But, you know, what's interesting to me is that everybody caught up in the Trump-Russia investigation is lying. Michael Flynn is lying about his contacts with the Russian ambassador. George Papadopoulos is lying. Michael Cohen is lying, and they're all lying about Russia. So if you follow these lies, you know, they all point to Russia. And, you know, I think that's where Mueller's headed. He said Peter Strzok and another FBI agent visited Flynn at his office in the West Wing on January 24th, 2017. When he first made the false statements, he did not have an attorney with him at the time and was not warned he could be prosecuted for making false statements, his memo said on Tuesday night. Is that what you're referring to, Seth? Exactly, exactly. And, you know, the fact is he pleaded guilty to lying. So if he didn't do it, you know, he shouldn't have pleaded guilty. He's obviously admitted that he committed a crime, and now he's backtracked. You know, I think he's playing to a different crowd. There are a lot of audiences for these kind of documents, and he seems to be throwing some, trying to get some sympathy by throwing some stuff out there.
Here's the interesting thing to me, Michael, when they said that I didn't know or whatever. There's a very simple way around that to avoid that, and that is what?
Tell the truth. Tell the truth. I mean, it's like
just tell the truth.
It's like the perjury trap. No, I never heard a perjury trap until this presidency, and now everybody's talking about a perjury trap as if there's not a way out of that. And the way out is to tell the truth. Nobody seems capable of it, though.
Yeah. So he met some 62 hours, which I thought was interesting. But Michael Cohen met longer. He had 70-some hours.
Right, so close to 100, I think. Right. It's these
80,
people, they're talking a lot. And this is why I think we saw reporting today that the president is incredibly upset, worse than he's ever been. You know, his behavior in the Oval Office today was just about distraction, although most of what he does is about distraction.
Yeah, but it shouldn't, if he's going to do that, he should bring his A game, because he got fact-checked left and right and just checked all over the place.
Well, and you could see Schumer. Schumer's a guy who's had a few arguments on a New York City street. Trump is not the only one who can play that game.
Schumer was just like, okay, I cannot believe I just got you to say that in the Oval Office. Seth, you have a new piece out tonight in the New York Times, and here's what you say. Part of it at least. You said the problem for Mr. Trump is that he is unable or unwilling to spot the difference between a favor and a crooked scheme, and that goes a long way towards explaining why he has surrounded himself with people in trouble with the law and why his presidency is in the grip of intensifying federal investigations. Elaborate on that for me, if you will.
Well, you know, Russia has been doing favors for Donald Trump for a long time. Donald Trump is a guy who trades and collects favors, like he keeps a bank of favors. So he'll take anyone in if they do him a favor, and Russia's been doing him favors for a long time. They've been buying his apartments, they've been spending lots of money in his casinos, they've been financing his buildings. And, you know, Vladimir Putin has done the biggest favor of all. He turned his intelligence service into a de facto arm of the Trump campaign, and helped Trump win maybe helped Trump win in a close election. And on the other side of this is Trump doing favors back. You know, he is very nice to Mr. Putin. He's attacking the NATO alliance. He's letting Russia kind of run rampage around the world. So what I see is an exchange of favors, you know, and what else is collusion but really two people doing favors for each other.
That's a very good point. Do you think the president doesn't spot a crooked scheme, or is it more to it than that?
He understands crooked schemes better than most of us. He prefers crooked schemes. And I think what Seth noted...
Say how you really feel.
Well, he really does. It's more important to him to get over on people than to win. He doesn't want to win by the regular rules. He wants to win by deceiving you. And I think Seth's piece was spot on today, talking about how Trump does trade in favors, but the word that we should keep in mind when we talk about favors is money. It's people who provide money for him, key financing, apartment deals, those are the favors.
Well, imagine this, Michael, because his former attorney, Michael Cohen, is going to be sentenced tomorrow, and the prospect of such a close Trump ally going to jail, that has to be deeply concerning and uncomfortable for the president and those around him.
Oh, it has to be. And what might Michael Cohen suddenly decide that he's willing to talk about that he hasn't talked about yet? Because the prosecutors have said, we're not satisfied. That's why we're happy to see him get sentenced. What could he decide is now worth his bother to discuss?
He's going to be, I'm telling you, he's got more to be afraid of or concerned about with Michael Cohen, even after this. Because when Michael Cohen comes out and talks about this and does interviews, I think it's going to be very damaging to the president, and can release and talk about some of those uncomfortable things, maybe things that weren't necessarily illegal, but some of the shady stuff that they did.
When he testifies before Congress.
Yeah.
I think maybe the federal authorities would let him go down to Washington and raise his hand and testify.
Yeah. Given the way the Trump Organization works, okay, Seth, from what you know, do you think the Trump family had to know about the payments to Cohen and what they were for? Because they worked for him. They all worked in the same organization, and we're told that nothing gets past him as a businessman. He knows everything that's going on in his business.
Yeah, I mean, did the Trump? How deep did it go in the Trump Organization?
Or with his family? You think he knew about all of it?
You mean like Jared and Ivanka? Yeah, I think I'd like to know that too. I think Jared and Ivanka are behind-the-scene players at almost every stage of this process. We saw them, getting the chief of staff removed. Ivanka was involved with Russia. She helped the Moscow project. Jared, these are behind-the-scenes players. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to mention, Michael Cohen said he briefed family members. So yeah, I think they did know what was going on.
They know, right?
They absolutely knew. And this is the thing. This was a family business. People are mistaken if they imagine this is a big enterprise with thousands of employees. When the president talks about that, he's talking about everyone from the porters in front of the hotel sweeping up cigarette butts to the chief executive's offices at these properties. In Trump Tower, precious few people, maybe a few dozen. The children knew everything because he was preparing them to take over.
Thank you both. I appreciate it.